Hi, I'm Gabby from Natural Practices. I thought you might like to join me in making some summertime tincture. So this is quite relevant now because we've got so many clients approaching us saying really starting to suffer with hay fever. Now many people start back in February when the trees start sprouting. But now the grasses and pollens are starting to come through. More and more people are coming forward with really miserable time. They're having itchy eyes, running nose, perhaps it's affecting their sleep. They always sound like they've got a cold. So one of our formulas is called Summertime Tincture, and it's beautiful and it works so well. It's just a natural antihistamine. So while I've got to make up a fresh batch, I thought you could join me. So one of the first things that I'm putting in is eyebright tincture. And what's lovely actually about eyebright is it's naturally an antihistamine, and obviously it has an affinity for the eyes. If you look at the eyebright flower, just Google it while I'm talking, it's just gorgeous. It's really tiny, and then it literally looks like an eye, an open eye. It's very, very small, and it's actually quite hard to find as a wild flower, so that makes the tincture quite expensive because eyebright is quite difficult to come by. But it was first written about by a 1st century Greek physician. I can never pronounce the name. Dioscorides, I think it is. He was the guy that actually first initially wrote De Materia Medica, as it was called, which many of our drugs are now formed from. His wisdom came from really studying botany and the interactions of the plants with the human body. He started to look at the pharmaceutical aspects and started to do monographs on different plants, which shows us that they have these key actions. So the key action for eyebright is antihistamine, and it's really useful for people that have the eyes start itching so much, and no matter how much you rub them, they just start itching further. Now it's a little bit astringent eyebright, so it's really good at toning the mucous membranes of the eye, but it does in particular take away that kind of scratchy feeling which you can just never seem to satisfy. Now our next ingredient is something called raspberry leaf, and many women who have gone through childbirth might actually recognize this one. Raspberry leaf contains tannins, and tannins are very, very astringent. That means that they pull tissues together. Now that's perfect for somebody that has issues in the tissues, as it were. So it's going to tighten and astringe and tone the tissues, which is exactly what we're after, especially when you see, quite bloodshot eyes. The redness of the eyes can be astringed and toned so that we get the whites back again. The next part of the formula is a herb called Mullane, and I'll just tell you what raspberry leaf looks like. I mean, you've seen raspberries, but the leaves are very very soft, but they're very bitter. If you think of any kind of berry and any kind of leaf, it's wonderful to use in something like diarrhea because it's tightening and toning and it astringes. We use blackberry, blackcurrant and raspberry leaves all to help with conditions such as diarrhea. But the next herb is called Mullane. And Mullane, if I can find it, is a very long wandering flower. There's all these little yellow flowers on like a stem, and it looks so soft and fluffy. It looks like you just want to rub it against your face almost. It's very, very soft, and that softening effect is known as demulcent. So in this formula, it's softening to all of the mucous membranes. It helps to lubricate them. We've got the tightening and toning effect of things like eyebright and raspberry leaf, but we actually need some Mullane in there, and that's going to help just to moisten the mucous membranes again because they're getting so irritated during this time. people feel that they're just constantly sneezing, rubbing their nose, producing copious amounts of mucus. And the Mullane actually is very calming, it's soothing, it's almost like putting cream on something. It's gorgeous. Golden seal is very difficult to get hold of. It costs a fortune for something of this size. We actually just put a bit in the formula, but the golden seal root is incredibly important. The berberine is this bright yellow that you get from this root, and it's anti-infective, so it helps with any infections that could be going on underneath, any histamine reactions. You know, when you're rubbing your eyes all the time, rubbing your nose, you're introducing bacteria all the time, and this is why hay fever itself can cause so many other issues, is the constant hand to face or hand to eye, hand to mouth, etc. So it helps just to prevent any infection, and it is another really good mucous membrane astringent. We've also got in here fennel seed. Now, to be honest, the reason I've got this in is actually more to do with the flavour, because fennel provides that nice aniseedy sweetness, but it is another demulcent. It's a little bit like Mullane in that sense. We tend to think of fennel as anti-gas. We give it after meal times to help with any flatulence, but in this case it does lift the flavour. It is a slight demulcent effect as well. It just creates a nice well-rounded formula. Now, the amazing thing about this particular tincture is it is an internal and an external tincture. So people take this as a tincture and they put it in water and knock it back, and they can be taking fairly high doses, but we also rinse the eyes with it. So that's what I mean by an external formula. So we put a few drops into water into an eye bath and rinse each eye individually, making sure that there's no cross-contamination or cross-infection. Hang on, A, B, C, D, E, F. Whoops. And what that will do is help to tighten up the membrane around the eye, help with that itching. It's wonderful as an eye bath. And it sounds really strange, the next thing that I'm about to add, but I'm about to add cayenne pepper. Now you might think, why on earth are you adding pepper to the eyes? Isn't that going to sting like hell? Well, yes, don't worry about that. It does sting. It stings initially, but it doesn't stay stinging. Cayenne is absolutely wonderful. So I'll have to concentrate for this bit because we do it in drops, so I won't do this and talk at the same time. But what it does is it encourages circulation to the eye. So increasing blood flow can help with vision, can help with tired eyes, great for computer strain. It also is known as styptic, so it stems bleeding, as it were. So very good if there's like little cuts in the eye, or especially from all the rubbing. It's amazing in this formula for hay fever. The way that we work with this is that we start slowly using just 5 drops in an eye bath, and we rinse each eye individually, but the aim is to get up to about 25 drops. What's incredible about this is that people report back that their vision is so much clearer from using the summertime tincture, both internally and as an eye bath as well. So it works well together. So although we market this as a hay fever formula, it's perfect for people who notice that their vision is actually starting to go. We combine our summertime formula with a hay fever tea, and the hay fever tea is a blend of herbs that are really antihistamine. It's perfect for this time of year when your histamine levels go high. That's what's producing the irritation. It's the mast cells that are producing all this histamine, and basically drinking this tea 2 or 3 times a day really helps to lower those histamine levels, and it works in conjunction with this tincture that's having this tightening, toning, moistening effect. So together the two work really well for hay fever. So if you're starting to struggle, if you're noticing it, please get in contact with me, and this batch that I'm making up now might very well be for you.